once a week that listens to the show.
Hey, if you listen to us outside of the country, in Canada, give me a break. That doesn't even count.
What?
Well, Canada's us. They're just a nice...
They would disagree
they're just
strongly. I think the Canadians would disagree right now.
Colder, nicer version of us.
You guys are very different right now.
We want to hear from you.
So the Texans have reportedly requested an interview with Eric Bieniemy after all for their head coaching position. This will be his 6th interview for head coaching jobs this year. He was also said to be the candidate that Deshaun Watson wanted the team to interview. So they have finally gotten around to it.
He's already interviewed 6 times?
Yes.
Wow, what a busy bye week.
So based on the anti-tampering policy, the initial interview window for Eric Bieniemy closed Sunday, so the Texans aren't permitted to interview him until the Chiefs lose or after the Super Bowl, whichever comes first. Well, I mean, I imagine it's a little easier to do these interviews now because everyone has to do them digitally. So, whereas before these were all definitely going to be face-to-face interviews, you can get them done over Zoom now.
Yeah, you're right. It seemed so daunting, but that you just, between the new radio towers that have happened in America and that, I learned a lot about technology in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah. But there are a lot of openings still. The Chargers, Eagles, Falcons, Jaguars, Jets, Lions, and Texans. We were talking at the beginning of the show how we weren't sure if this Eagles job was good. After hearing all of that,
no.
Don't take this job, Eric.
No.
It was offered to you.
No, I mean, seriously, it's like the levels. I mean, I know Howie Roseman's got power, but God, after listening to John, it's like, coaches want some say.
I mean, you should definitely have some control over your coaches. That's a very common problem in organizations, though, that if the GM and the coach are not aligned, or if you have some leftover pieces from the previous administration, let's call it, or you have the GM wanting to bring in certain people, there's going to be disruption amongst the ranks because it's like, who do you answer to? Do you answer to Doug Peterson or do you answer to Howie Roseman? Like that's a major issue. You have to of course have to at least have control over your coaches. How can you get anything done? How can the message be spread if half the coaches are not adhering to what you're saying and they're going with what the GM says?
I'm going to still throw this out there. Jason Garrett to the Chargers, I think, is the most underrated move. If I hear somebody badmouthing Jason Garrett again, Jason Garrett to the Chargers, what does Justin Herbert need? Former NFL quarterback, somebody who's been in big games, can help him. He's very patient, can help him develop. I mean, the knock on Jason Garrett, he didn't clap very well. But the knock was never he's bad in late-game situations. The knock on him, he didn't have this massive enthusiasm.
Well, he doesn't have a massiss personality. Well, and I don't know that that's really necessary, but I do think you do have to have some sort of aggression in what your game plan is overall for the organization. I like Jason Garrett, and I do think it would be a good hire for the Chargers. I think you need someone who can take Justin Herbert to the next level. Like, that's what you want to do. You want to capitalize on the next 4 years of Justin Herbert's career.
And you don't have a meddling owner with the Chargers. That you don't have somebody hovering, and they got a very capable GM who, by the way, is not a power-hungry GM. It's not like the Philadelphia situation, apparently. So the Steelers suffered a shocking loss to the Browns Sunday night, which knocked them out of the playoffs, but that did not stop wide receiver Chase Claypool from continuing to talk trash about Cleveland's ahead of their game with the Chiefs.
A bad loss, but Browns are going to get clapped next week, so it's all good.
Dude, I barely heard that.
It was like one of those, like, under the breath comments, like, oh, well, whatever, you guys are going to lose anyway.
Listen, Pittsburgh got rolled. Sometimes you just have to say, Cleveland was better than us.
Cleveland was way better.
How about that? The first game, blowout Steelers. Second game, doesn't really count. Third game, blowout Browns. Like, you saw 3 totally different games when they played.
And, well, the Steelers were a different team.
Yeah.
I don't know why this is so shocking. I mean, look, that game was shocking, obviously. No one thought, the Browns didn't think that game was going to go the way that it did, as quickly as it did. But that was a winnable game for the Browns always. The Steelers lost, 4 of their last 5 games? Like,
if you take out 1 second half against the Colts, Big Ben did not play well for 2 months. He had a great second half, aided by a couple of sketchy pass interference calls that went against the Colts.
The Browns have been getting better all season long. Baker's playing well. They're healthy.
They're not turning the ball over.
They were obviously missing their head coach, which didn't matter because they won the game the way they did. Now, if they had lost, it would have mattered. It's just one of those things.
I think
one game, the coach being out, fluky things can happen, but he obviously set them up for success, so they had an amazing game. As far as the Steelers go, it's just time to look in the mirror. Yeah. Enough with this never-ending loyalty thing. That's not how this works. You have to keep up. The division is, every team in the division has their quarterback now. So now you're the team everybody's looking at. The Browns have Baker. Where's Lamar Jackson? In the playoffs.
Right.
With the Ravens. Joe Burrow is coming back. They're going to be better next year.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
No, these are legitimate points. I'm getting some interesting information here.
Oh, are you getting hit on the Colin?
I don't want to give stuff up, but
okay.
Sometimes the downside to being America's media icon is this. You just get a lot of stuff on that show.
Tom Brady and Drew Brees will meet this Sunday in the divisional round of the playoffs. Brady, 43. Brees will turn 42 on Friday, making this the oldest quarterback matchup in NFL history with a combined age of 85. And in response to a tweet suggesting his game should be played on the History Channel, we've got all these different forms and ways to watch the NFL now. Brady posted this picture of himself and Brees with some photoshopped aging effects.
Looks like Brady looks like Letterman.
I thought this was legitimately hilarious. I actually laughed at this.
And Drew Brees looks like that very well-respected geology professor at a local college.
He does. He does. That beard on Brady is ridiculous. It's so funny. It's such a good edit. Tom Brady is great at a lot of things, and he is also really great at social media.
This is really funny.
It's so funny. So the previous record was an age of 84. Brady and Brees met during the regular season. And the previous playoff record was 78 when Brady played Phillip Rivers. And they showed a graphic of Brady at 43 and George Blanda at 43 during the game.
I didn't see it, but I heard about it.
You didn't see it?
I heard it. Blanda looked 100.
At least 145 years old. And when you put him next to Brady, who has somehow gotten better looking since he's gone to Florida.
Certainly younger.
The Florida sun has done him wonders. His skin is glowing. The wrinkles are gone. His hair is a different color.
Everybody looks better with a little sun.
Tan. It's a remarkable side by side. Blanda, listen, it was a different time, I guess. The air quality.
Back then, first of all, nobody had their own trainer. Secondly, people just drank and smoked a lot. Athletes were I had a friend in high school, my best friend's brother, Brad Jones. As a kid, I remember this. He won something in school, and he got to go to the Seahawks Raiders, the locker rooms. He won he was a 4-point student. And he went into the Raiders locker room. And this is when they had Stabler and Cliff Branch and he said they were playing cards in their jock straps and smoking before the game. He said he was he was a really strict, he didn't party. He was a great student. Brad Jones was his name, and he told me they were smoking in the locker room.
No one's accusing Blanda of that. It just was a rough side by side. Sometimes you get a rough side by side. It's unfortunate graphics, but that's what it was. They used to smoke on planes.
In 1989.
Can you believe that? You're just sitting there on a plane.
There's the
hours.
picture.
Yeah.
There's the picture. Oh, my God.